everyone, and welcome to the first ever thing that we have.
Unnamed podcast.
Unnamed, to be named. There might be a name up there now.
There'll be a name eventually. By the time you hear this, we'll have figured out a name.
By the time you're listening or watching or both. Well, what we're here to do is every week we're going to be discussing a different movie in the realm of would you call it sci-fi, horror, in that?
I would say pretty much just camp.
Camp.
You know, like we're not going to pigeonhole it to sci-fi or horror. If it's crappy or entertaining or strange.
Or all of the above.
If it checks a couple of those things off on a list, we'll get to it eventually.
So,
also, anything you guys want to suggest, maybe.
Absolutely. Any suggestions?
We'll take viewer suggestions. Yeah, it'd help us out greatly because it took us a while to decide on the wonderful flick we came across for today.
Yes, our very first ever.
Let's do a little clinker on that.
Oh, should we show?
Oh yeah, we're skull mugging it up.
We're skulling it up. First ever campy fun film entitled Lifeforce.
Lifeforce, yeah. Lifeforce is, it was made in 1985 by Tobe Hooper, who you may remember as the man behind Texas Chainsaw 1 and 2, Invaders from Mars. He made a really strange movie about a demonic laundry folding machine with Robert Englund called The Mangler. He did a pretty excellent movie called Body Bags with John Carpenter.
Very great movie. Made for HBO, right?
Yeah.
Ooh,
that came in with some heat.
Power.
Tobe Hooper, he's one of those. He's made some serious hits, and boy, has he made some serious misses too.
Yeah.
And I'm not really sure which side of the fence I would even throw Lifeforce on. I'd say it's a bit of both.
It's definitely a bit of both.
I don't think it succeeded in what he necessarily wanted it to be. Let me hit you with the tagline before we get into it. This is one sentence. I'm reading this right off the IMDb. This is the tagline for the movie. A race of A race of space vampires arrive in London and infect the populace. So this is a movie about vampires from space attacking London.
Now, when you said a minute ago, when you're saying whether or not he hit his mark, what mark would you say that is? What was the target here?
I think he was really trying to go for like a almost apocalyptic like end of the world scenario that was really gripping with tension and really wonderful performances. But what he got was some of the most overly ham-fisted acting I have ever seen out of the British community. I mean, if they're not talking, they're just staring with these
that
intense,
one guy, yeah.
Yeah,
what's his name? Do you have his name?
It stars Steve Railsback as Colonel Tom Carlson. He would be our astronaut,
the
hero or anti-hero.
The guy that was enchanted.
Yes.
By the, whatever it is. Whatever that thing is.
And then the other main star would be Peter Firth, who we are referring to. This man, I don't know what his credentials were supposed to be in this movie. Suffice to say, no matter what he wanted from anyone, he got it. He'd go up to the military, I need this, this, and this. Boom. Getting choppers flying all around town in a nice fly turtleneck.
It's like he always had nice turtlenecks, nice trench coats.
Well, he started out in leather, and then he went to the trench coats.
Oh, you're right. Yeah.
Yeah.
It was almost like a Jedi mind trick he was pulling on people.
Well,
he would just insinuate something, and it would just become concrete at that moment.
He would say the most off-the-wall shit. And people were like, well, that must be true. Or someone would say the most off-the-wall shit to him, and he'd be like, wow, that must be true. the movie starts out, we have a group of astronauts. They are tailing Halley's Comet, studying it before it disappears for another 75 years. And they will be, as they made many reference to, dead by then. And this is their only opportunity to study it.
Yeah.
So they get out of their spaceship and they find what looks like an alien spaceship that was a mixture of a penis and an umbrella with roots. It was very phallic, and then it had a big umbrella shape at the end, and then
like
roots
talons or something
coming out the back. And the way they entered was through this very vaginal pink tunnel.
I forgot about that.
It was really strange because it was like this, like if you ever watched old medical, like the sex ed videos they would show you in high school, where you'd see the little spermies swimming.
Yeah.
That's what the astronauts looked like in their little white spacesuits going down this overtly pink and bumpy tunnel. It was really strange.
It was very, yeah.
So they get in there and they find a naked woman and two naked guys in what look to be crystals. And don't expect this woman to ever put on clothes this entire movie, because she does not.
Which is actually, it's very off-putting.
It is.
Like,
you know, I'm all for a naked woman, especially one as well-shaped as she was. But when she is one of the main stars of the show, and no matter what's happening, she's just naked as a jaybird in every scene.
yeah.
I mean, she never puts on clothes once, and at points turns into Patrick Stewart.
And while being a very sexual themed movie, it's not very sexual.
There's no sex.
There's absolutely no sex.
There is loads of nudity and a lot of horny dudes, but no sex.
Yeah.
In fact, overtly creepily horny guys. I remember in this scene, the one astronaut was like, "Do you think she's human?" And he's like, "I've been in space for 6 months.
Yeah.
I think she's perfect." And the only female astronaut just like rolls her eyes a little at this overtly shudderingly delivered Kirby line.
I've been in space for 6 months, and she looks perfect to me.
It was a creepy line.
It was. I remember shooting you a look like, ooh.
Now, what's even creepier about it is that it seems to be that as the story progresses, this isn't a woman at all.
It's a space vampire.
It's a space vampire.
As they should have figured out by the weird... As they were finding these women, there was these weird bat vampire creatures
everywhere
floating around. They were dead. They were just floating around. So they felt, in the name of science, what most scientists would do in this type of situation, they just broke a big chunk off.
They just start breaking pieces.
I'm gonna take this with me. Stuff one in the little astronaut pocket for later.
Completely desiccated.
Jump back into the.
We're only 5 minutes into this 2-hour goddamn movie.
That's true. You're right.
This movie also was overtly long. It was so long.
So for no reason, right?
If they would have trimmed like a good 40 minutes out of that movie, it would have been a stunner.
Totally.
Because the special effects are just fantastic.
Which is kind of why we were, kind of torn watching it. Because it's...
So it would go from these very, and I don't know how to say this properly, like, just overtly British conversations where these men were overly ham-fisting stern accents in trench coats and leather jackets, staring each other in the eye,
delivering one-liners that
there's one after another.
Yeah.
And a lot of it didn't even matter to the movie. So they bring upon the ship, and then smash cut 30 days later.
Right.
Just bam, 30 days later. The spaceship is now floating in orbit outside of Earth somehow. Now it's there. They set another spaceship up. The whole thing's been burned up. They grab the logs, and the 3 crystallized space vampires. The rest of the crew is nowhere to be found.
Yeah.
Bring them on down to Earth. And that's where the shenanigans really start taking place.
Which it's funny that I did forget that they did that 30-day jump.
Yeah.
Which is funny because they spent a large chunk of the rest of the movie explaining
flashbacks.
It's flashbacks explaining what happened during that time.
During that 30 days. And they could have just shown that and then gone down to Earth.
Or they could have even shown it all in one flashback if they wanted to do it was like, what, 4 or 5 flashbacks?
It was a lot. And every single time they did like the old-timey where they made the harp noise. Almost like a cartoon.
Did it do a water splash?
It did not.
I couldn't...
I was hoping for, because it's a space movie, like a star swipe.
Yeah.
Like a good star swipe smash cut, but no.
Right.
No.
That would have been
Couldn't
cool.
get any of that.
Yeah, the harp transition was a little weird.
I will say, for a movie about space vampires, it takes itself extremely seriously. Much to...
Yeah.
I actually think it's like one of a great part about it, because it's ridiculous subject matter, and Tobe Hooper just approaches it like he's really got a gold mine here. And he does. Just not in the way I believe he wants it.
I don't know a lot of the backstory of the production of the film, but I know it's a canon film, and I know that they would a lot of times give artists kind of freedom to kind of do what they want.
I believe canon being involved has a lot to do with it.
Okay. Do you think that they directed it somewhat away from Toby's vision, or do you think that...
Well, canon has always been known for kind of letting people just do their thing and somehow always turning a profit. I don't think many canon films didn't turn a profit.
Do you think they pressured him into cutting corners in any way, or... I mean...
I've looked... The entire time I was watching this movie, I was like trying to think up excuses why a director would make some of the decisions he made in that movie, especially someone that could make something as visceral, as intense as Texas Chainsaw. And Texas Chainsaw was very realistic.
Yeah.
It was a grueling movie. And this, on the other hand, they went batshit out of the spectrum with the action in this, like, wholly unbelievable.
Yeah.
But still had these very stern performances in between.
And again, all of the action scenes look pretty fucking phenomenal.
There was some really cool special effects, like when Patrick Stewart's head started hemorrhaging all the goo, and it went into that.
Yeah. It's morphed
like,
into
aura, and then it turned into the vampire lady.
It's like a reverse shot of blood shooting out of his head.
Not
and
really.
then
It was like if they took his head and held upside down, and it just dumped out the orifices, but in a zero gravity kind of way,
right?
Where it was going up.
And then it forms. It's like it forms. Yeah, the outline of a woman. Is that the?
It was the main vampire lady.
Okay.
She was like, "I'm here again, balls naked. What's up, guys?"
It's so
look at my melon heavy breath.
There's so many reasons, but it's like it looks cool.
She does eventually find a blouse at one point. Almost 2 hours into the movie with no explanation.
I want to know what the backstory is behind that blouse.
I made the joke that maybe she stopped at Burlington Coat Factory and picked this thing up. It's just like a white slip with a little zip up the middle. There was one other scene where she was wearing clothes for maybe 30 seconds
before she wing thing, right?
Before she just slid them right back off.
They have like fabric connected from the fingertips to the sides, like a bat.
It's hard to remember because it was all of like 4 seconds. She wore clothes in that movie.
And I don't know why they were showing us that either. Now that I'm thinking of it,
I don't know why they showed us a lot of the things they showed us in that movie. So they bring them down. Obviously, things are going to go awry here to some military facility where there's a lot of stern-looking men with berets on it, whose guns never run out of ammo or any clips change.
Yeah.
Apparently, when the woman looks at a man, I'm sure that this plays into almost the old school vampire lore where you romance your victim in.
Right.
But they would just fall madly in love and just would not be able to resist her, which is where it goes back to my a lot of horny men but no sex comment earlier.
It's true. Yeah.
So they would walk up to her and then she would go to kiss him, and then lightning would shoot out of her eyeballs and mouth, and she would suck their life force.
Yeah.
The titular line, their life force out of them.
Which they do say
several times.
Yeah.
If I'm correct, the life force is conserved always and in all things, even after death. Drained energy, life force.
And I will say I came out of it with more questions than when I went into it.
Absolutely.
So, sucks the life out of this guy. He turned into like a prune man candy kind of thing, where like he was just brown like a Tootsie Roll and had no moisture left in him.
How do you think they did those shots?
I believe they were puppets.
And they what?
I think they used a lot of
just
puppets and model work in that movie.
They either pumped them up with something or sucked something out of them.
I think almost like a diaphragm situation where they had a skeletal and then it was like a big balloon.
Okay.
So where they pulled the air out, the skin would kind of go down around the ribs.
It looks
it's
awesome.
The special effects look awesome. I mean, if you were to make a supercut, which I think we're going to do for the intro of this, of the special effects.
Yeah.
You would look at this and just be like, this movie looks amazing.
Totally, yeah.
But then they start talking in between, and then you try to like pull a storyline out of it, and you're like, oh shit.
Yeah, if this movie were being engaged solely on special effect, I'd give it a 9.
Yeah.
Like, it's really cool looking.
Yeah, I
was gonna say they copped out on certain things. Like, remember the globe behind the weird
spaceship?
jellyfish spaceship thing?
They had the jellyfish dick umbrella spaceship,
yeah,
and it looked so realistic and cool. Then they had what looked like a 5-year-old drawn on the Earth.
Literally.
And that's how I have to pronounce it, this one, Earth, because it looked that bad. It wasn't even the Earth, it was the Earth. So, she gets loose through sucking the life force out of several people. Gets out of the, and she's not like making a very spry escape. She just kind of casually, nakedly strolls out of this military facility, and anyone that stops or tries to stop her just gets the lightning.
Is that where the glass blows out when she's doing that?
Yeah, and then the glass blows out front, and she goes strolling through the dewy grass, and that's the last you see of her.
That also looks incredible, the glass.
And then there goes into this really confusing scene where there's the two fellas we told you about, the space vampire fellas, and they don't really have a lot of screen time in this movie. So there's this scene where they're going to escape like the lady, and then two of the beret guys with their endless clips are just dumping rounds at these guys, and it's not doing anything. And they throw 2 grenades in there and then just smash cut into a whole different scene. No explanation if it stopped them. It wouldn't have stopped the girl, is what they made it seem like, but they don't mention the guys again for a while.
Yeah.
So then all hell breaks loose in downtown London as she starts infecting people, because as she sucks their life force, exactly 2 hours later, the people whose life force she sucks would come back and try to suck life forces. And if they couldn't, they would blow up into a tidal wave of sand.
Right. Which
you heard that correctly. A tidal wave of sand.
Yeah, it literally, but only some of them.
Yeah, that's true.
Not every one of them did.
Apparently that wasn't like a complete rule of thumb.
Yeah.
That was like, it was loosely. like the first few, that all happened to every single one of them. Right. And then they never really came back again in the other 7 hours of that movie.
Now, are we to the point where the guy flew through the gate?
Yes.
He
would be the first Sandman.
Okay, he was the first.
Yeah, they had a guy locked up. One of the guys who had his life force drained, because they had figured out that these guys would come back as dangerous, evil space vampires to suck life force. And there was a wonderful scene where the vampire man just goes running at the bars of this cell, and he just explodes into dust all over everyone that's staring at him, except for his hand,
right,
which is just hanging on the bar.
Yeah,
it's just hanging there.
How do you think they did that shot? You think they dragged the dummy up to the thing? And
I think they dragged the dummy thing, and it was just a cut of them with almost like an Acme Looney Tunes cannon of dirt, and that they just blew at the camera. Camera. Yeah, it was fantastic. Yeah. Like I said, the special effects of this movie are one of the reasons to watch it. That, and I mean, if you like campy crap, really give it a shot. It's long. It's really long, but if you can get through it, it's pretty awesome. So that's the setup. It turns into a bit of an apocalyptic situation where London's burning for some reason. There's a lot of fires.
It's an orb setting the fire, right? Is it the orb?
We made that assumption at one point, but it never really broke down why there was fires being.
And the orb is the orb is the orb is the woman, right? Or the orb is the vampire.
No.
What is the orb?
It's. Oh shit. From what I gathered, please, if anyone has any explanations beyond what I'm trying to figure out in this.
Yeah, absolutely.
The spaceship, the big dick ship, comes down to orbit, and all the souls that they're harvesting through London are shooting up in a blue orb into the sky, or a blue line into the sky, and I believe the orb is what's harvesting them all. It never really gives an explanation. There's just this giant blue orb floating around downtown London, blowing shit up. In fact, almost every question that you probably have for us right now, like, you seem like you guys are skipping around. Well, so did the goddamn movie.
Yeah, it really did.
Patrick Stewart's one of the stars of this movie. He doesn't show up until at least an hour in. He delivers 3 lines of dialogue, and then our one main character, the astronaut, Colonel Tom Carlson, who I think in 3 or 4 separate scenes just starts slapping the ever-living shit out of whoever's around. Like, you know, like, he'll ask you a casual question, and if you don't answer him, he's throwing your ass into a lamp. He's smacking you around, and you know, the people, they don't say, like, anyone that's in the rooms, it's like, yeah, that's normal. It's the 80s.
What did the one guy say? He's slapping that girl around, and he sits down, and he goes, I'm a voyeur.
Oh yeah, he's like, ooh, I'm a voyeur for this.
Not at all. I am a natural voyeur.
There's some weird fucking lines in that movie.
Which it's even weirder because it's not so weird to the point where you're like, oh, this is supposed to be weird.
Yeah.
It's just a weird thing to say, and then they move on from it.
Yeah, like no one reacts and like, wow, that was strange in any manner or that way.
Oh yeah, almost like you're not supposed to think he's a creep, or maybe
Yeah.
you are. Were we?
In the 80s, apparently, and you know, this goes for a lot, especially action movies, that the antagonist, has a tendency to start slapping women around, and no one ever really thinks anything of it because of the time or something.
They usually have questionable ethics in general.
Yeah. So this guy, he's asking some questions, and you're not answering. I'm slapping you around. But Patrick Stewart gets introduced as a doctor, and they're in the middle of this room, just having a conversation. Out of nowhere, our astronaut hero just tackles the dog shit out of him, and just starts jamming needles into his neck.
Literally out of nowhere. It's just, there's no build up to it.
Patrick Stewart, I don't believe, has any more lines in the rest of the movie.
Other than screaming?
Than screaming a lot. So they take him to this room, and our hero, who, like I said, no one questions shit on, they're at a hospital at this point, tells him, a doctor, they want more of the hypno drug that he already shot him up with, and the doctor's like, that's not a good idea. And he's like, just give it to me. And the police chief's like, yes, I consigned it. Just give it to him 4 times the normal dose. And the doctor's like, okay.
You're right.
Hands it on over.
Right over.
He speaks this way to the military. Like, the military puts these guys in quarantine because the city's burning down and there's vampire people everywhere. And they just casually look at the general like, well, we have information that's important. And they're like, oh, we better let you out.
Yeah.
But let's tell you our whole plan and let you go. And then the guy's like, I'm going to need a sidearm.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm going to need a car.
A car.
Give that to him too, and then let them go.
And then the guy, right after he gives it to him, the guy says, the one soldier says to him, he goes, that was probably a bad idea. And the guy agrees with them.
Yeah.
And it's like, why the fuck did you give him the car?
You know, honestly,
Jedi mind trick.
This guy was doing Jedi mind tricks. He had a curly blonde fro. Like I said, he had a fantastic turtleneck on in every scene, and he had a gaze that was cold,
Yeah.
hard as steel.
No matter what was happening around him, he was just cool.
You know what it
Totally
reminded me
cool.
of? Have you ever seen the old British show Garth Marenghi's Dark Place?
No.
Okay. The way the main character in that movie and that show is supposed to be mocking old television, delivers his lines much like this guy delivers his lines. It's a lot of eyebrows, really hard. You know, like he could just be like, I want a banana from the fridge. And it was just so much eyebrow and intensity.
Wow.
So
That is kind of what it was. And just, yeah, every time something is crazy is going on, the stare is this. It's, yeah, like,
yeah,
just, I'm cool with all
people
this.
blow up into sand in front of him. It doesn't raise an eyebrow. It's just
The apocalypse is going on.
Apocalypse,
He's sprinting
London's
through
burning.
it with a gun out.
still looking like he's like just got done smelling like a carpet square and like a fabric softener square.
Yeah.
That's okay. Like, no reaction whatsoever. Just that steely, like almost like Ben Stiller in Zoolander. Just like steel
Yeah.
Blue steel gaze.
Right.
Yeah.
He's done this before and he knows what's going on.
Well, he's the man for the job. I mean, it never really introduces where he came from.
No.
He just shows
I like
up.
when you said he doesn't report to anybody.
He doesn't report to anybody. No one's checking in on him.
No.
He's walking up to army generals that are handling an alien apocalypse.
They commandeer
and commandeering shit from them. They're giving him helicopters and jeeps and firearms. And he doesn't seem qualified for any of this.
Do you remember who said? Yeah, everyone in there is an expert on whatever they, like you said, whatever they say is it's concrete.
No one argues shit.
That
in this
must
movie.
be their souls flying up.
When they take down that scene I was talking about, when they take down Patrick Stewart, the two people that were in the room with the astronaut guy look at him. They're like, "Why'd you do that?" And he's like, "When he touched my shoulders, I mind linked with him,
Yeah,
and
oh,
I
yeah.
knew he was a villain." And then the police chief guy, or the captain, where the fuck he was, the no credentials man. He's like, "Oh, that must be it. He mind melded with them, and they don't. Let's boom. Let's just move on." Like,
Is that the term they use?
Yes,
They use mind
mind
meld?
melded.
Oh my god.
So, like, if someone's like, I touched him on the... Or why did you attack that guy and jam giant syringes of chemicals into his throat? I touched him on the shoulders and I mind melded with him. And I saw that he had evil intent. I'd be like, what in the fuck are you talking about, you crazy bastard, you?
Yeah, we need to take his guns and his
Put an egg in your
helicopters.
shoe. Put a fucking egg in your shoe and beat it, because you're up to no good, mister man. I gotta go make sure my friend over here is alright, because he's jammed a bunch of bleach in his throat.
Wouldn't that have been the best ending if they just revealed that he's like, were we talking about that if he escaped from the mental ward?
Yeah, he's just some random guy running around in a trench coat just telling all these people what to do in a crisis situation, and they're just so panicked, they're like, well, he's got a steely gaze and a nice coiffed of afro. He must know what he's talking about.
Steely gaze.
He did have a steely gaze,
That's
man.
the best term for
His
it.
favorite band must have been Steely Dan. Out of nowhere, they do not explain where this even came from. This one scientist has this leaded iron sword
Yeah, I forgot about that.
that
What?
you have to kill. That's the only way to kill the vampires is take this leaded iron sword and jam it through their aura, which is below their heart.
Right.
And
it
he proclaimed this as the old-fashioned way.
Yeah, that's literally a line.
Yes.
We
He's
do-
like,
the
how
old-
do you kill him? He's like, the old-fashioned way. You take a leaded iron sword and you jam it through their energy field, which is right below their hearts and their stomachs.
Yeah.
And no one questions shit. They're like, word, okay.
And it's just when it comes when it comes into the plot, it's there in the lab. He's on the phone.
He just
and
has it
talking
like
about
it was sitting around in his basement.
Yeah, and it's the most bizarre looking. There's no artifact like this on the planet.
Yeah, I mean, it's like, anytime they have one of these artifacts in a movie, they make it as cool looking as possible. And basically, this looked like Masters of the Universe's He-Man sword with
Yeah.
a Dalek attached to it, and it had like this like studded, weird. It didn't even look like a handle.
It's like a bat on the
Yeah,
end.
and
or
the
something.
end. It was stupid looking. It looked dumb as hell.
It was a very impractical weapon, I would say.
It looked very hard to wield.
For a mortal.
Yes.
Maybe.
Now this is based on a book, no less. So we're gonna have to I'm gonna have to dig this sucker out. And
What's
give this a read.
the book called?
The Space Vampires by Colin Wilson.
That's a much better name for this.
It fits it more.
Yeah.
Yeah, because it's much more about space vampires than the Lifeforce that they are.
While they
They
are
are taking
sucking a
themselves
life
in,
force,
yeah.
it's more about the vampires. I wonder if it's a short story, if it's a novel. I wonder how long this book is, and I wonder how much liberty they took.
Well, I'll tell you what, while we're discussing this, maybe I'll pull up some info on it here right quick. Maybe we'll get a little bit of backstory. So why don't you take it from there, storyline wise?
All I remember really from it jumps so all over the place. I just remember that
And we
There-
just watched this, by the way.
I did. Yeah, it was too much, man. It was too much to take in. They're making out, and they're getting sucked up into that orb. They get sucked into the orb while they're making out.
Yeah.
And she tells him that he's one of them,
Yeah, the astronaut
and there's no
explanation on why.
He's a vampire too.
It has been the whole time.
And that's why she didn't kill him. She killed all the other astronauts. She killed everyone else. And why there's been this attraction between them the whole time. She reveals she's just as attracted to him as he is to her, huh?
Yeah, They're somehow madly in love with each other.
Yeah, so with that knowledge, I guess he can't bear to be what he is, which it's actually I wonder if they got that from the Lovecraft story, Shadow over Innsmouth, because that's how that ends.
I was thinking that too.
You know that one?
Yeah, the Space Vampires is a full-length novel.
Wow, interesting.
379 pages. You
So-
get $12.99 brand new. Amazon
buy it.
Prime.
That's cool.
Yeah.
So knowing he's one of these vampires and that's his existence, that's what he's gonna go what? To live in the orb? Where are they going? They're getting sucked up into something and there's a spiral going around them and that sword's floating around.
Well,
Did he let it go and it just starts floating, or why is the sword floating around?
Somehow our astronaut hero, or I'm not even sure if he was a hero, he just wanted to fuck. I think the entire movie is just him trying to get to our naked space vampire lady.
Yeah.
And then when he gets there, he's making out with her, and
in a blue
orb in the middle of a church.
Oh, that's
in
right,
London.
because that's where like the nexus is, right?
Yes.
It homes in on the
So
church.
they're about to be sucked into space, into their phallic umbrella penis spaceship.
Are there more that are up there in that ship?
It never. I think that's what they were pulling life forces for, was to reinvigorate the rest of them from the ship.
Oh,
So
ones
how
that they were breaking off pieces of.
So how it ends?
Is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
They're breaking the pieces. They're gonna bring those
To
crusty.
life. Yeah, they're gonna bring the vampire poop bats back to life. So
they did not make that known. I want to say
this is a lot of assumptions.
It's okay. Yeah, go ahead.
This is a lot of me just putting the evidence together and what's in front of me.
It sounds right. What you're saying sounds right. Go ahead. It sounds good.
So Mr. Credentials Man, Mr. Fro of Steel, shows up at the church where they're at together and they're making out hard, and they're about to be sucked up in this spaceship with all the souls of everyone in England, and he throws that guy the sword when she's telling him, "You're one of us," so he stabs himself and her through the stomach. They get sucked up into the spaceship.
Show them how like this. They're making out.
Yeah.
And he reaches around her.
And right on through.
And through, yeah.
Through himself, too.
Right.
So he stabs himself through the stomach, through her. They get sucked up into the spaceship. The spaceship turns to fly away, and the credits roll.
Yeah.
No explanation beyond that. No, did they stop them? Why was he a vampire?
Why would
Did this ruin their plans? Did everybody's souls who got sucked up gone? Did the apocalypse that was going down on the ground stop? Did all the space vampires that were down on the ground because they had been bitten stop attacking each other? These are questions you do not get any answers for. What was the blue orb? Why was it there? Did it go back with the spaceship?
I think the best one you just named that I didn't even think of is, what happened once it sucked up all these souls and he killed themselves. They got sucked up into the thing as corpses, right? Because
it didn't show them die though. Like after he stabbed them through, they both looked up.
You're right.
And they were,
and then
they got beamed on up.
And then what happens to this reservoir of souls?
Were they just like, fuck it, London's fucked. We just gotta leave it alone. Let's just cordon that bad boy off.
God, it sounds like they could have been a banging sequel.
I don't know who would have funded a sequel to that goddamn movie.
It's like there's tons of sexual. What do you even call it? It's like it's a sexual movie without having any sex. What do you call that?
Sexual tension?
But it's not really like.
Because every dude that sees her wandering around naked was all just like, oh.
I like what you said about you're right. It's the reversal on the
old male vampire. Right. When they would seduce the women, they would feel powerless.
Yeah.
They just kind of flipped that on its head.
But then he flipped it even again to say, well, the reason the guy's so attracted to her, is because he is one.
Yeah.
Which is
and
really kind of stupid.
But when he's going to the church, Afro Boy, Mr. Credentials with his leaded sword, that's when out of nowhere, just one of the male vampires appears. And they have like a showdown on the steps, and he throws the sword through the guy's stomach, and the guy turns into a giant bat demon.
This movie almost feels like 4 movies.
Or it feels like half a movie that was 4 movies long.
I wonder how Hooper got the inclination to go with this story. Like, did he read the book and just loved it? Or, like, did someone give it to him and said this is great? Or...
You know, he came off of Texas Chainsaw, and, you know, I'm not sure if Invaders from Mars was before or after, but he obviously had some sort of interest in sci-fi and alien movies. Invaders from Mars, I know you haven't seen it, was actually a pretty awesome movie. It was more of a kids movie.
Pretty sad.
Alien Invasion kids movie. So maybe, you know, he was trying to go off in a sci-fi direction, and maybe this was the movie that killed it for him. Because I could tell, I don't think anyone would have gave him another $1 to make another movie like this.
Yeah. Which is kind of sad, because it's like I can definitely see merit in it, for sure. It's like, it's not something that I wouldn't ever recommend to someone. Like, I would probably recommend this to everybody. You gotta see this movie. It's fucking nuts.
Yeah, but I would do it in that way, like, you have to see this shit.
Yeah, that's...
Okay, so Lifeforce was before Invaders from Mars. They were a year in between each other. He did Texas Chainsaw. Oh, he actually had a bunch before. He did Texas Chainsaw, Eaten Alive, The Dark, Salem's Lot, The Funhouse, Poltergeist, and then a movie about Billy Idol before he did Lifeforce and Invaders from Mars.
He did Salem. What you said? He did Salem's Lot.
Yeah, he did Salem's Lot.
I didn't know that. Wow, that's a good one.
Yeah, he made some decent movies. He made some fucking shit ones too, though.
I think Texas 2 is one of the greatest movies ever. That's my horror movie Star Wars. You know?
Really?
It's like Dennis Hopper's dual wielding chainsaws.
They have essentially a lightsaber battle with chainsaws.
Yeah, it's so cool. He said, I read an interview, Dennis Hopper, that's his biggest regret, he says, is being in that movie.
Really?
That's what I read. And I'm like, why?
He's been in some dog shit movies, too.
Yeah, he has.
But you know what? I feel we're getting off topic here.
Yeah, we are.
What would you rate this movie? Out of like, you know, let's use a rating system that pertains to each movie. Now, I would give this...
Ooh, I like that.
Out of 5 naked vampire women, I would give this 3 naked vampire women and a half-sucked vampire man, which would be like a half star.
Okay.
So that's 3.5 out of 5. And I would give it 5 stars if they took the dialogue out, because it was ridiculous and fun to watch.
I would give it... I don't know, man. It's a tough call, because I don't want to rate it too low because of the effects, which typically...
It is fun as hell to watch.
It is. And typically I'm against rating a movie based on the effects it presents, because it's like, that's not what the film's about. But in this case, it totally was.
Yeah.
So based on that, I'd give it 2.5 naked vampire women.
So no, you gave it 2 naked vampire women, because a half is a sucked man.
Then I'll give it 2
naked vampire women and a half sucked man?
Yeah, that's the one.
Okay.
Yeah. 1/2 sucked man.
One half sucked man. Which never even happened in this movie. There's no sex.
No, there's none. Sadly. It's like, wouldn't you have liked to see someone bed that ridiculous vampire chick?
I think after spending the entire time sexualizing this movie, it was really weird that there was no sex.
Like, none.
None. I mean, for their sake, you'd think that, you know, like one of them would have enough game. But there, she's like, nope, sucking souls.
Well, she was gonna give it to the what's his name?
The astronaut guy.
The astronaut. She's gonna give it to him.
He was too busy kebabbing her with the leaded iron.
Which I wonder. I just wonder. I wonder what the viewers.
You know what? That's what my takeaway is for this. I just wonder so much about this fucking movie.
I wonder
so much.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's about all I got on it. How about you?
Yeah, I enjoyed it. I've been waiting to watch this for a while. And I'm glad that I.
That's how we got on it. Was you said that you've been waiting to see it for a while, and
yeah,
my jaw hit the floor like, wow, what a first perfect movie.
It really is,
because it is batshit nuts. So hopefully, if all this goes well, we'll be back again next week. With something equally shitty and horrendously wonderful.
And if anyone has a suggestion or a preference of what they would like to see next week, let us know.
Yeah, any feedback you want to give us on what you want to see, create constructive criticism. I'm sensitive.
What we can do to make it constructive.
It better be constructive or I'm going to go running for the razors.
What we can do to improve.
What you'd like to see, maybe some segments we could do. Anything we could do, jazz up the show, make it funner to watch for you guys.
Games, fun games.
Yeah.
We were talking about games here. What was our game we were talking about? We had a game.
Oh, we were going to make some drinking games. We'll get to that later.
It was a fun movie, fun day, and we hope that you all enjoyed listening to this as much
as we
as
enjoyed
had.
making it.
Yeah.
Cheers.
Totally. Absolutely. So, anything else, Chris?
See you guys next week.
See you next week.